Hey everyone! If you're new here, my name's Cameron. If you guys don't know me, hi, welcome. I'm so excited you're here. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to see all of the content I'm going to be posting weekly. I haven't figured out exactly what day, but I'll let you guys know when I get into like a rhythm of each day that I'll be posting. I'm just really excited. This video, you know what it is. You clicked on it because I'm going to be sharing all the juicy details and gossip when it comes to my college admission process, because it was a long path, it wasn't an easy one, and I'm going to be sharing like statistics, my GPA, what I wrote my essays about, so definitely diving in and pretty much showing you how to navigate the process, you know, what I wish I did better, what I wish I did when I was submitting straight out of high school. So just here's my tips, advice, tricks when it comes to college admission. Hey, so here's a breakdown of the video. So I talk about my story, then the transfer process, and then tips and advice. It's all so good, and I spilled the tea, so you should listen to it all, but I'm being nice and I'm splitting it up for you. So I'm gonna share a little background first before I get into like the statistics and the specifics of things. I graduated high school in 2020, the COVID year, and I really didn't get a graduation. We had it in the parking lot, and it was probably 30 minutes. We drove our cars in, all jumped out, walked in, grabbed our diploma, and then got back into our cars. So it was an experience. Unfortunately, my senior year of high school, I didn't really get to go to prom, grad night, and of course graduation was cut short, which is a bummer, but that kind of made my experience when it came to admissions in college really different. And then backtracking a little more, I do modeling, acting, hosting, pageants. That has been my life for so long. So in high school, I got a really crazy opportunity. It was my senior year, and I was going to be on set filming a huge TV series, but then COVID hit, and of course my world flipped upside down. But due to pageants, I was gifted a full ride scholarship to the University of Alabama, and you know, I could defer it for this job, or I could go there. And there's nothing wrong with the University of Alabama. It just wasn't for me when I started like talking to people and really thinking about it, and especially because I want to work in the entertainment world, I want to do modeling, I want to do acting, I want to do hosting. You know, out in Alabama, there's not a huge market for that. So being in LA was really important to me, and I've always wanted to go to UCLA ever since I was a little girl. So here we go. Sorry if this is like jumping all over the place, bear with me. But so now we are, you know, at the application process. We're so excited. I competed at, you know, Miss America's Outstanding Teen. I have over 500 service hours in 1 year. My resume is stacked. People are telling me there's no chance that you aren't going to get into these dream schools of yours. Just apply. Like, you got it in the bag kind of thing. So I'm thinking like, okay, sweet. So excited and grateful and just ready for this process. I think it's going to be a great one. And I applied to 3 schools. So I applied to the University of Alabama. It was a rolling application. So I knew I was already in just because of that's where I had my scholarship. And then I applied to UCLA and USC. And so my thought process was, you know, if I don't get into UCLA or USC, then I'm going to end up going to the University of Alabama, which would have been great. But in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna get in. Duh. Like, why wouldn't they want me? So I apply out of high school with a GPA of a 3.74 or 3.75. I took one AP course in high school. I took honors as well, and I was involved in track and field. I was a baton twirler. I did pageants. I was Miss California's Outstanding Teen. Like I said, finalist in Miss America's Outstanding Teen, and then also with 500 plus service hours in 1 year. And so yeah, that's kind of my like resume, so you guys get the gist. And so I applied, application process comes around, and then my ACT score was a 26. Yeah, I'm not really good at test taking. I started out and it was a 21. So for me to get it from a 21 to a 26 was like a huge accomplishment. And I also don't think that those tests are a good indicator of how smart a student is. It's like somebody told me, like, it's like prescribing everyone with the same exact medication. Like if a doctor said to you, you know, you have chickenpox, I'm gonna prescribe you with one medication that I also prescribe everyone for every other disease. Like same thing with thinking and learning, like one test, we all think and learn differently. So that's my little rant done. But so 26 ACT, 3.75. Not the best, I understand, but I was thinking, all of my, resume and experience is going to totally make up for it. So applied, application process comes around. You guys can imagine what happens. I don't get into UCLA or USC. I am heartbroken. I think I cried about it for over a week. And I feel like anyone who's been rejected from their dream school can relate to this because, you can prepare yourself all you want, but when you see that, unfortunately, we can't admit you email, it's heartbreaking. It's so sad, especially when you work for it for so long and, it's almost like it's rejection on a different level. I've been rejected in the entertainment industry and whatnot, and I have a thick skin towards that, but I felt like, I don't know, that one hit me different because I was like, oh, I'm not good enough. You know what I mean? It sent me into a tailspin. But then I was like, okay, great. No worries. I'm going to go to New Zealand, film this entire series, which is going to be fantastic. And then, we'll go from there. So COVID hits, of course, and that's canceled because you can't go out of the country. And so not only did I not get into my dream school, but my dream role that I've been working for forever crushed as well. So I went into a horrible mental state. I know I'm spilling everything to you guys, but that's kind of the point of this video. If you want to skip my rant part, of course, go ahead and you can hear the rest of my process. But yeah, so went into a horrible mental state, just really thinking okay, everything that I've worked for is, crushed. What now? Kind of thing. It made me rethink everything in my life. It was the best thing ever. It's really this whole trust the process, God has a plan type thing, but you don't understand in the moment. That's how I felt. So, yeah, where was I? New Zealand, didn't get it. Okay, yes. So I sat down with my mom and I was like, in my gut, I told myself if I didn't get into USC or UCLA, I'd be going to Alabama, and I was so excited. But then when it actually happened, I was so upset over it, just because of what I said earlier with my career and whatnot. I'm very career and future oriented. And so sat down with my mom, and I was like, Mom, I'm so torn about this. She was so upset as well. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm at this point where I feel like if I go all the way to Alabama, I'm going to be really upset. I'm going to be lost. I'm going to not know what to do. So what are my options? We weighed them out. Option 1, gap year. Option 2, go to CC, community college. And I know myself, I'm going to get so wrapped up in my, business world and whatnot, probably not going to end up going back to schooling. So I said, knowing me, I need to stay in the flow, in the groove. So I decided to go to a community college, which was the best decision, absolutely best decision ever. I got all my GEs out of the way. Those are general education courses that, aren't major specific. So that's really exciting. Rewind the track. Sorry, I'm all over the place. When I applied to UCLA and USC the first time straight out of high school, I applied as a communication major at UCLA and a broadcast and journalism major at USC. I never stepped foot on campus at my community college until the last semester, so I pretty much took all of those courses online while I was able to, do things with work, start other businesses, and it was perfect for me. I'm very self-motivated, so it worked out, and it was great. I mean, I learned so much about myself, and when it comes to those first 2 years of college, I still feel like you're trying to figure out what major you really want to do. I changed my major probably 3 or 4 times, and it was super easy where I went to school, and so that was great for me to kind of figure it out, adjust, and just figure out what I want to do with my life. I know that sounds really deep, but like I said, I went through this whole spiral that it made me totally turn around and switch and shift and focus on social media and my career, which was fantastic. But in the moment, of course, it's always so stinking hard to see all of your friends going to Harvard, going to the schools you dreamed of, and on those days when I remember there was a day where everyone came to school wearing the college that they're going to, the shirts that they're going to. I was so upset. And I look back and I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have been upset. You have so much going for you in the future. But yeah, it was hard. It's not easy to be rejected. And so, yeah, that was the process of community college. Okay, so now transferring. Oh, I'm being called. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I swear I'm like a squirrel. I get so distracted. Okay, so now we're into transferring. Sweet. So, go through 2 years of community college, get straight A's in community college. I stressed so much. I had a few grades that were like 89.45s at the end where you're like stressing so much, but we did it. Straight A's at community college. Here we go again. Oh, rewind. First year community college, I actually did reapply to UCLA and USC. Again, got denied. So this is third time applying. Third time's a charm, you know what they say. So, third time applying, transferring. I'm like, this is it. You know, if they say no to me 3 times, it's a sign. Gotta be done. So we applied. Coming out of CC, 4.0, no ACT, SAT, chef's kiss. So, essays. So at this point in my life, I was Miss California Teen USA now, and then competed at Miss Teen USA, still involved in pageantry, but now I also have my social media business. I wrote one essay about having 660,000 followers on TikTok, and like how I use that as a business, and I can market, and I can analyze and do all that for the university that I would be going to. Another one I wrote about Miss Teen USA. I was actually writing it as I was traveling to Miss Teen USA, which was pretty cool. So I think I started off like as I'm traveling to Miss Teen USA with a 1.5-inch binder filled with political and social events. You know, I have studied my whole life and been really involved in politics and whatnot. So that was that second essay, was just expressing like how I love social and political change, and which relates to my major, which was public affairs at UCLA. So that was the second one. I want to say the third one was about baton twirling, because the UCs they have 4. So third one was baton twirling, and then I forget what the fourth one was, but you get the gist. And on the UC application, I applied as a public affairs pre-major, and I also clicked, I wrote my essays literally talking about UCLA, because like I said, Bruin for life. I was like, you know, I'd love to take this course at UCLA, and UCLA has been my dream school, but yet I still clicked Cal, and I also clicked University of San Diego as well. Ended up getting into University of San Diego and UCLA, and I also applied to Pepperdine, and I wrote about my faith in that essay, and that was, I loved those essays. Those were fantastic. Got into Pepperdine as well. Didn't get any money for Pepperdine, and I don't know if you guys are familiar, but the tuition to Pepperdine is around $70,000 a year, and then versus UCLA is around 13 to 15 for in-state. Out-of-state's very different. And then I also applied to USC for a public relations major, which was something new I wasn't really familiar with. Didn't end up getting into USC. We know where I decided to go. Bruin baby, UCLA, dream school forever. I'm gonna roll the clip of me opening my application. UCLA applications are in. Really shaking. Yeah. That pretty much sums up my love for UCLA. Third time's a charm, don't give up. So now let's get into like my advice. That was kind of my story. I gave advice along the way, but I'm gonna really quickly bullet point like my advice when it comes to the application process as a whole. The UC applications and like the private school applications are super different, but let's just get into it. Okay, so like I said earlier, number 1, grades really do matter, especially in high school. When I was a freshman in high school, I kind of, was so excited to be in high school. I was, hanging out with friends all the time and put my grades on the back burner, which really tanked my GPA average as a whole, because I remember somebody telling me they only look at the grades from your sophomore and junior year. So it's like, sweet, the rest doesn't matter. Wrong. Really wrong. So take all of your grades, very important in high school. That didn't make sense, but you get the gist. Have fun, but also get good grades. Take AP courses as well, even if you feel like those are going to be challenging. It's good to see AP courses you're especially wanting to apply to a UC or USC or any type of Ivy League as well, I would imagine. And extracurriculars too, if you can get involved in your school as much as you can. I also had a club at my school, track and field, I was involved a ton, but as we know, that doesn't really, matter that much unless you have the grades to back it up as well. So you're like the whole package deal. Really focus on everything. Don't put too much energy and attention towards one thing. Let them all work together. That will be your best friend. Okay, so I met with a college counselor and they pretty much told me, as being a white girl from Orange County, I should not put my ethnicity on my application process because I'll have a better chance not putting it down. And I was like, okay, of course you're gonna listen to the paid professionals that, you pay to help you. Also, get a college counselor, hands down. So, not that one though. Worst advice ever. I ended up researching it after, and it was like less than 2% of people get into universities when they don't select their ethnicity. So yeah, select it. Don't put not selected. That was a horrible idea. That was my second time applying when I was in JC, so it didn't really matter that much, but who knows if that would have made a difference. You never know. When it comes to your essays, really think out of the box. I had a friend that wrote an essay just surrounded by, I think it was the letter P or the letter S, how that letter has affected her in her life. I also heard somebody write it about butterflies and why butterflies are so important to them and really going in depth. So you can think about anything, just make them really creative and out of the box, because you have to remember, these people are reading essays over and over and over and over again, and they see the same stuff over, and it has to get boring, you know what I mean? So when they see something that stands out, you're most likely to connect with them or, be unique. That's just kind of the goal, I guess, when they're looking at, UCLA had 140,000 applications. They had to look at that many applications, that many essays, 4 essays per person. That is a task in itself. So, yeah. Also remember that college admissions are luck of the draw, in my opinion. Like I said, again, I would love to premise that I am not speaking on any professional, education or knowledge. This is just my opinion. I think college admissions are luck of the draw, and it's how the person's feeling who's reading your essay. It's so many things combined together that play into a role of you getting admitted to the school or not. So don't give up is kind of my point. Like I said, you saw my journey go from 1, 2, and then the third try, bingo. So if you really have the dream, don't settle, because when you look back and later in life, you're going to be so glad that you kept persevering and getting through it, because you're going to end up at the place that you've always dreamed to be at. When you're doing your college tours, make sure that rewind the track. When you're looking at colleges, make sure you tour the campus, because you will think in your head, there were some schools that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go here. And I got on campus and I was like, this does not work for me. I don't resonate with this place. You'll know when you walk on campus. It's a feeling. Trust me. You'll just know. You'll walk on, you'll talk to people, you'll be like, this is my home. This is the place for me. Love it here. So, walk on campus, tour campuses, have fun. Try not to stress too much about the little things, especially if you don't get in. Like I said earlier, there's a plan, there's a path for you. Trust me, you have to trust it. It's easy for me to say that now, but I wish I had that advice later. Of course, you want to look into the future and know, and it's hard. It's not easy. If I have any advice, look at the majors and the percentages of acceptance for each major, because I didn't realize that communications at UCLA was a 4% acceptance rate, and it was pretty much the same for the broadcasting major at USC, which you don't think of, you don't realize. But definitely look at those, because if there's a major where you're like, oh, I really like this one as well, but it's a 35% acceptance rate, go for that one, of course. But just take that into consideration. Start writing your essays really early, because there'll be drafts and there'll be so many, trust me, you'll be so happy with yourself, especially if you're applying to so many different schools, that you started writing your essays early. Also, there are so many essays that you can bridge, and what I mean by bridging is you write one essay to one school, and then you can take that essay and put it into another essay for another school and just tweak it a little. A lot of the prompts are very similar is what I'm trying to say. So you could be applying to 12 schools, but only write 4 to 6 essays. You know what I mean? Sounds a lot, but trust me, it's not. Be very extensive with the process and really review your application, because, one thing could change everything for you. If it was like an error or not correct, always put in the right information. Don't be that person that, lies, because that's not good for anyone. Be honest, review it as much as you can, try your best, do your best, and don't let it affect, you as a person. You are enough. College admissions doesn't mean that you're not enough or you're not worthy of being at that school. Like I said, it's just luck of the draw. And some of us get luckier than others. And that's it. You know what I mean? You have to loosely think about this, because at the end of the day, it's not going to change who you are as a person. You're going to have a great experience no matter where you go. It's what you make of it. It's how much you get involved with the school, and it's a total mindset game. It's a mental game too that you're playing. You're waiting, you're dreaming, you want to go to these places. If you get into your dream school, great. If you don't, great. You never know why you're put in a certain place. So say for instance, you didn't end up going to your dream school. You don't know what could have happened if you went there. Something dangerous could have happened, or you had another opportunity that you never would have had if you went to the certain school that you did. That's just a little bit of my welcome to my therapy session for college admissions. But it's hard. I've said that a million times. I'm not gonna lie. It's not easy to be rejected. It's not easy to go through this process and wait and see all of your friends getting into your dream school. I mean, I had friends get in that were like, oh, this was my third choice, and I was like, So trust me, you'll go through a wave of emotions, but at the end of the day, there's a plan, there's a path for you. It might not make sense right now, but trust me, it will. It will. I promise you. I promise. I hope this video helped kind of explain things, but also relate to people who didn't get in their first try and are still trying maybe, or people who haven't even started the application process. I hope this helps you understand, how to approach things. I talked about some things that I wish I didn't do and things I wish I did do. So it's all a learning process and experience, and I hope you guys take some of my advice. Like I said again, not a professional, but just sharing my experience, and yeah, you guys are gonna do great. I'm proud of you for applying. That's a huge step. You should celebrate that. You just applied to college, or you applied to college. That in itself is amazing. And you know what, no matter where you pursue your education, you're gonna find your place. I promise you. So much love. Stay strong in this process, and love you guys. Make sure you subscribe, follow all my socials, and let me know what else you guys want to see. Or if you have more questions, I'll be answering questions in the comments of any type of process. I shared kind of how I got into UCLA, but if you have more in-depth questions or just want to know about UCLA, I'm all for it. So excited for this next chapter of my life, and I'm excited for you guys to come along with me. So yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.